two, one. Let's start. Hello, everybody. My name is Joe Concannon. I am the president of Integra Security, and I have with me today Joe Weiss. Joe is a cyber expert in control systems and comes to us from California. Joe, hopefully it's sunny California today.
Well, I wished I could say it wasn't. We're in a big drought here, so we were actually hoping for it not to be sunny.
Yeah, I hear you. Joe, we're getting on the line today because you hooked me. All right, doesn't happen often, but you did. You hooked me. And we were talking about different control systems and things of that nature. And I wanted to thank you for the keynote, wonderful keynote up at New York's cybersecurity conference back in June. That was very, very nice as well. We can get into that a little bit later on if we want to. But specifically, I wanted to hone in on Presidential Decision Directive or Executive Order 13920. This was during the Trump administration, and I know it has something to do with bulk power systems here in the United States. All right, why don't you get into that a little bit with us? Explain to the people what that's all about. And if you want to share your screen and put up a slide, feel free to do that as well. But I really want people to understand that these presidential executive orders can be very impactful. All right, so go ahead, Joe.
Okay, number one, thank you for the opportunity to try to get the message across. Executive Order 13920 was issued because of some equipment that was found in a newly installed transformer. This is a 500-ton machine that was found at a substation owned by, it's called WAPA, the Western Area Power Administration, which is actually a part of the US Department of Energy. And what had happened was, under the too much information, they had three small transformers there. Small, you're still talking about, 100-ton type stuff. This is not where you go to Home Depot.
No, this is substantial.
And what happened was they wanted to replace those three small ones with a new big one. Well, it turns out the US wasn't making them anymore. And so WAPA was forced to have to go overseas to buy this transformer. And because of, again, this is part of DOE, so they're stuck with the federal procurement requirements. Yep. And they were requiring having to go low cost. Well, it turns out low cost meant having to buy a transformer from China.
Okay.
I do know, I was informed that WAPA tried to fight it, tried to say, we really, really, really don't want to go to China to get it, but they were basically told in no uncertain terms, these are the rules, this is what you will do. So the transformer, and these things take maybe a year to make and deliver and install. These are not things that, like I say, you get at Home Depot or that
No, these are complex machines. I got it.
They are very big, so even delivering them takes a very long time. So anyways, what happened was when that transformer arrived on site, the electrical and mechanical engineers were doing the install in what is called a site inspection. And what they happened to find was some extra equipment inside the transformer that didn't belong. So this isn't like, at the chip level where you need a microscope or anything else. They saw this equipment that simply didn't belong there.
Okay.
And to them, it was like, something to talk about over beers. Well, the message got back to Washington. Apparently, it scared Washington, and they basically sent people out to analyze and figure out what to do with this. And that is what resulted in the issuance of emergency Executive Order 13920. Not just
Right.
executive order, emergency executive order. Now, what I can do is show you, or at least talk about what is in scope for 13920.
Please do.
Okay.
I
Now,
think this is going to be very important to the listening audience so that they can kind of see what really brought us to this point of doing this video. So go ahead, Joe.
So anyways, there were two things about the executive order that was different than most any other executive orders I've seen. The first was it identified a voltage level. That's not normally something you'd see there.
Right.
And what I believe the reason for that is the electric industry has a set of cybersecurity requirements. It's called the NERC, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, Critical Infrastructure Protection, SIP standards. And SIP works on, if you will, a basis of size and criticality. So what the industry did was define a voltage level that if you were below that voltage, you didn't even have to look.
Right.
That voltage level is like 100 kV.
Okay.
What this executive order did is it lowered it to 60 kV.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's really the important one of the stark importances here.
Yes. So again, that's not something you would normally find in an executive order. And it also, in a sense, bypassed this whole NERC, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, standard setting process. Okay.
Right.
And part of the reason for this is I call it a states' rights issue, in that FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, is responsible for quote unquote the bulk power industry, or you could say the interstate, or the high voltage, if you will, transmission and very large power plants, except for nuclear. Nuclear is under the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, not FERC.
Right.
But distribution is done by the states. So you have two different organizations, even though the electrons don't care.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And the NERC SIPs exclude all electric distribution.
Okay.
Yes, isn't that nice to know? There are no cybersecurity requirements for electric distribution. Okay. Now, 60 kV is essentially low voltage transmission, high voltage distribution. So it's, in a funny sense, starting to break that wall for cybersecurity. So I just wanted to bring, here's an executive order that actually has a voltage level in it. Obviously written by an engineer, not, your typical executive order, let's form,
Yeah, this wasn't just put together by a bureaucrat. This was put together by somebody from the industry that actually understood the importance of voltage.
Yes. The second part is the executive order gives a listing of all of the equipment that's in scope. All of the equipment that is in scope is hardware. So you're talking about transformers, generators, load tap changers, protective relays, industrial control systems, okay?
So these are the things that are for our readers, right? Because I'm always conscious that I want them to understand. These are things in water and wastewater treatment plants and things like that, and in electric plants that are commonly found things that are in those places. So they would understand this laundry list of items that 13920 talks about.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, and then I'll go back. What is out of scope for 13920
Right.
is essentially all of the network and networking equipment.
Right.
What you would normally expect to see in a cybersecurity order is excluded.
Yeah, so Joe, that's an interesting point that you bring up, and let's focus in on that for a minute, because and then I want to sort of end this segment after that. This is important. It's something that I think our cybersecurity people really have to get a handle on this. All right, because what you're talking about is upstream. It's in front of all of this other stuff, and I don't want that to elude people. So get into that a little bit, and if you can put some clarity and definition to it, please do.
Okay, so what I want to do also maybe is jump back to Stuxnet for a minute too, and then I'll go through this.
Yeah, good example.
What Stuxnet was, for people that don't recall or know, was the program to cyber attack the centrifuges in the centrifuge facility in Iran at Natanz. And what it was meant to do was to damage or destroy these centrifuges. It was not meant to shut them down. It was meant to damage them. So there's going to be a parallel to what I'm going to talk about with Stuxnet,
Right.
and what we're talking about with 13920. There was little information in terms of stealing information to get. All of the information that was exfiltrated out of Natanz was simply for understanding the, if you will, the status of the equipment and how it was communicating. There was nothing about stealing information. There's no information to steal there.
Right.
Okay. The equipment that was installed in the transformer at WAPA was not on any internet protocol network, which means there was no data to steal there.
Mm-hmm.
This is I consider it to be a sea change with China.
Well, this is showing how China has gone around the network completely and taken control of the host, which is the actual machines.
Yes.
You and I were talking about PLCs before and things of that nature. This is the definition and the depth of where they've reached. All right, they're controlling the control mechanisms if they're getting into this laundry list of equipment.
What has happened, and that's where you're exactly right. This is no longer about stealing data. This is about taking control of physical equipment to either damage the equipment itself or to compromise the overall system.
Right.
Okay. And that's what I was saying. This is kind of a sea change. This is not stealing data. And it's also not ransomware. This is not trying to hold anything up for hostage or whatever. This is for physical damage.
Right.
And so what they're looking at, the equipment they want to damage is long-term. In other words, 6 months to a year to make this kind of stuff. And when the system is down, you may, you're hoping, again, it's only done on a onesie, twosie type effort. So you've got enough, excuse me, redundancy in the system to be able to keep working. One of the concerns with what we're seeing here and why there was a complaint filed with FERC, with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, beginning of September, I guess end of August, beginning of September, is the person who filed it has been able to document 158 bills of lading of Chinese-made equipment, large equipment used in our electric grids. So
Right.
you're not talking about, it's just one system. You're talking about the potential for widespread, outages
Well,
throughout the country.
we'll get into that in the next segment. I don't want you to go too deep into the actual thing, but I want to end this in this next minute. All right, with making sure that people understand here and that there is clarity to this. All right, that 13290 did, all right, was actually get in back of all the networks.
Yes.
All right, and get into the actual control systems. Now, for people who are in the electric and wastewater and water districts, they'll understand this a whole lot better. All right. But that is the importance of what's going on here with that particular order, that they provided the laundry list. They set the voltage much lower. All right. So it opened up more systems that could not be procured from, let's just say, not friendly nations. All right. And then they got behind all of this. So those points are very important. And Joe Weiss, I thank you for that. We will see you in the next segment when we talk about some of the definitions that are important, especially in the energy sector, and maybe some of the different groups that are controlling all of this here in the United States. And I'm going to be relying on Joe to kind of fill us in on a lot of that because it's been a while since I've reviewed that. All right. So, Joe, thank you for this segment. We'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.